All right, guys, welcome to the live. I've brought back a very old school cosplay from the archives, just to do. Oh my goodness! All right, yeah. So we're gonna do a bit of Captain Marvel. So I actually have a read for you guys today. I know this is earlier in the day than you're expecting, but it's really I'm doing this as like a live recording situation, just because I have an actual Captain Marvel comic book. So I'm just going to let me just and Brandon, I know it's not specifically gloves, but I'm in a body sock, so that kind of counts, right? So, welcome to the live. I'm Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, and we're going to talk a little bit about copyright before we begin, because if we think about Marvel, Captain Marvel is from Marvel comic books, right? And the word it counts, Brandon. All right. So I think let me give you guys some history into this cosplay and this like lovely body sock that I'm wearing right now. Maybe I can move the mic out of the way so you can kind of see. So this is just one of the iterations of Captain Marvel, and as you guys know, she is in the live action MCU, played by Brie Larson, and I don't really like Brie Larson very much, but I don't like to spend a lot of time with like hate on anything. She's just not my preferred person to carry that mantle. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about like the commonalities between DC and Marvel when it comes to their characters. And hey, Gwen Stacy, how's it going? We're playing in your universe today. In this comic book, ooh, sorry, girl. Sorry, Carol. In this iteration of Captain Marvel, I'm actually going to show you guys the variant covers. We're going to do a bit of a read today. So happy Friday. Hope you guys are well. So Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Let's go back to like Marvel, right? So the reason why Captain Marvel is called Captain Marvel is because Captain Marvel, right? And it's ironic, right? Because there is a Captain Marvel that already exists in the DC universe. And if we do an actual like track back, right, into like what came first, who came what? Technically speaking, Shazam, as he's now known as, came first. Now, copyright, right? When we talk about copyright, oh my gosh, what a topic, right? Especially with AI, right? Because you can prompt a lot of these AI generators to just use whatever's out there, right? So, in the style of American comic books, do this, that, and the other thing. So, it's become this very interesting thing of like who owns the character, right? And even if we get a live action version of a character, you in your own life, like Captain Marvel for me, this is a newer comic book of Captain Marvel, but I used to read about Ms. Marvel, and she's in here actually, I made her old outfit, and I will reveal it to you guys maybe this weekend. Oh my gosh. But they kind of make the new Captain Marvel. I would say she's more of like a counter to Captain America, right? Where is it? The variant covers. It's hard to turn the pages with the things. So, well, these ones are kind of nice. These variant covers, but come on. I know there's one in here with her. People are like, oh, this one. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, this Miss Marvel, because the original Captain Marvel was a dude. Oh my gosh, I missed Sailor Mars joined. Hi Jeff. You have a Warbird outfit. I do not have a Warbird outfit, but I am slowly working on, you guys, my own cosplays, including Ms. Marvel, which one I sewed myself. I do sew, but some cosplays require extra things like armor, magic, that kind of stuff. Alex, hi. So we're going to do a bit of a read of Captain Marvel because I kind of like this story. This is the body sock. This is an OG body sock that I got back in the day. So let me tell you guys a quick story. A quick story. So let me just adjust this. I was gonna put music on, but this is actually going to be like a live recording replay. So if you guys want to join the Cosmic Comic Book Club, we read about comic books with like deeper meanings inside. So I'm not, I know I do a lot of DC ladies because in one of my past work lives, I received many as a gift. Oh, hey, Dandy Money Man, happy happy birthday, twin. I always go like happy birthday, right? I mean, as we get older, it's kind of like what? But I think I wanted to share with you guys a story which I saw in an animated kind of short on YouTube that has to do with Shazam. So let's take for a moment the fact that Captain Marvel in our world right now, 2025, in a world that has MCU and Titans and all of the media we have right now, Captain Marvel is this Captain Marvel that you see right here, right now, Carol Danvers, right? She's the leader of the Avengers in this story. But I wanted you guys to take back, if we were to do real nerdy comic book history, right? And I don't love Marvel more than DC, or I just love stories and characters, right? And it's like having children. I don't have a favorite child. They are all special in their own ways, right? So Ms. Marvel is special to me in a similar way that Kara Zor-El is special to me. And oh, thanks for that, Rosa Abud Amaro. Nice name. Uh, because Carol Danvers, or rather Captain Marvel, is half Kree. She's half alien. So if you guys are not familiar, I don't know if you guys, I know that a few of you guys who are my viewers are a lot more astute on the MCU. I only am familiar with like the first iteration of movies. Like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become so big and there's so many facets to it that I actually cannot keep track. So I go back to comic book lore first, even the newer comic books, because they do take into consideration movies, right? You'll find that even in comic books, they'll style and that'll influence the way that the characters look in the comic books based on the movies. Like look at Obi-Wan and Ewan McGregor. Like to me in my mind, like Obi-Wan Kenobi is Ewan McGregor. And it was so funny. We watched this movie called The Men Who Stare at Goats the other day, and I just noticed how at the end, like, Ewan McGregor's like, we need the Jedi now more than ever. I'm like, oh yeah, we sure do. But I went off on a tangent. I wanted to talk to you guys about Marvel, Captain Marvel. Yeah, Snip. So some not known characters are based off the movies now. Exactly. So it's like we have this retrofit of certain characters that come back into human consciousness, because at the end of the day, I consider comic books another level of new mythology, right? And what is mythology other than sacred stories to yourself, right? And it's just when you have movies, because movies like Hollywood, even though it's falling and all that kind of stuff, it it's part of like the consensus reality, right? So you can't help but pay attention to it. But to those of you out there who have like gone into little niche communities or like love certain side characters that no one you think knows about, like Black Cat actually makes an appearance in this. We're going to read up until that point, and then I'm going to switch to Black Cat to finish the rest of this. Just because the personal thing that I love most about comic books and any of the superhero stories is that reality is really heavy, you guys. And the reason why I read comic books and I love animated shows is because my childhood was really tough growing up, right? And through the comic books, through these superheroes, I found an escape. I found a way out of this place for at least a little while, right? But now that I'm all grown up, I find that it's now like my responsibility to share these stories with my friends, right? Because in times where I, have been in a really dark place, you can pull from the heroes within, right? Like just like that Mariah Carey song where you finally see the truth that the hero lies in you. And to have the courage to step into whatever role that is. Now, Captain Marvel, we're going to get into Carol in just a bit, and we're going to read this in just a second, but I wanted to give some kudos to another cosplay that I'm working on, which is Mary Marvel, who is the sister to the original Captain Marvel, aka Shazam now, because I believe that Marvel and DC went through a copyright struggle back in the day in regards to the use of the word Marvel. And so this is actually, let's see here. Oh, F would be refreshed, but the way you were talking about this stuff made me scroll back to find like, oh, thanks, awesome guy. Well, I always appreciate any of your sacred attention, right? If we think about the world right now, there's a lot of different forces vying for your attention. And so to maintain focus and like just on this one timeline, this one moment, and just be like, all right, I'm here. Oh, thanks, Snips. Because remember, my favorite thing to do with friends, because actually, hands up in the chat. Do you like spoilers or do you not like spoilers? Are you like a person who's like, I need to like Star Wars, like that kind of situation? Do you like spoilers, not spoilers? Me personally, I don't mind spoilers. Just because I like watching the same movies over and over and over again. I like playing the same video games over and over again. And when you do that and you go back to the beginning, you have to like pretend like you've never played the game, even though you did, right? And that is a great allegory to the way this reality works. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge to all of you out there who are living out a certain another lifetime or a lifetime that is a key to a past future kind of sense. All right. So Captain Marvel slash Shazam. I'm going to share with you guys a story that is an either or. Great seeing you. Hi, Rose Star X. Yes, I think you're either or, right? So I'll tell you why I like spoilers. My favorite thing to do with my friends and even my little sister was if someone saw a movie ahead of me, I would love for them to just tell me the synopsis of what they took away from the movie. Because you could ask 5 different people who watch the same movie and they'll tell you different things. Oh, Theo. Oh, great name. I love the name Theo. I had a dream about, because Theo is short for Theodore, right? Like Theodore Roosevelt and like Teddy. There's like a lot of like, it's like a really nice name, I find. So thanks for that, Theo. And yes, Rostar X, exactly. Oh, and Timmy, hey. Oh my gosh. You guys, I got all the warm tingles when you guys all entered the room. That's so fun. our our superpowers are working. And there is a method to my madness as to why I'm talking to you guys about copyright. Like that sounds kind of boring, but it does influence the way that our world works, right? Our reality functions. So, Captain Marvel actually sequentially, chronologically in time space came first, right? Billy Batson. I'm going to share with you guys a story. It's a DC story, but it deals when how Superman finds out that Captain Marvel is actually a little boy and how he reacts to it, because it's a good story and it'll lead nicely into this Captain Marvel. Okay, so if you guys are not familiar, Shazam in the DC universe is actually the champion of the wizard Shazam, right? Shazam's is his transformation word, right? So can you imagine? It's so funny, like because of copyright, Captain Marvel has to be known as Shazam, which is his transformation, like sacred word. It's not really the way it works. Can you imagine if He-Man, his name was like by the power of Grayskull kind of situation? So it's like they changed it because of the copyright stuff. So I'm going to put that aside for a second. So Shazam is this little boy named Billy Batson. And Billy Batson, when he uses his vocal cords to say Shazam, transforms into Captain Marvel, who is the champion of Shazam the Wizard, who is at the Rock of Eternity and, is magical, right? So I forget what happens, but Billy Batson, his best friend gets killed. His name, little boy named Scott. Oh yeah, Daniel. You know what? I've realized this freaking reality, the bad guys, they like to overwrite stories in a weird way to make us angry with each other instead of us just looking into the stories themselves, right? I used to be like this, right? I used to get very upset when people didn't love the characters in the way I love them. You're like, well, you don't know this about them and you don't know that about them and you're just a poser and and I find that with cosplay too. Like sometimes have some beautiful girls who do cosplay certain characters and they have no idea anything about the character, right? And there can be a lot of judgment about it, but to me, I'm like, you're still sharing the story in some way, and maybe through them putting on that character, they'll learn more about her. And we should idolize, I think, aspects of ourselves to aspire ourselves to, as opposed to like idolizing people like the Kardashians or anyone who's in politics, for example. Yes, copyrighted, right? So we're going to talk about copyright in just a second too, because copyright affects me a lot because I'm a dancer, right? So oftentimes, what are dancers without the music? And unfortunately for us, most music that you really like to dance to is copyrighted. So something just never gets seen because it just gets blocked. I have a feeling my Instagram account, like it's got so shadow banned because of the amount of times I keep on trying to post copyrighted dances. But I'm like, isn't this fair use? I'm not trying to make money off it. I'm just trying to share it. So it's just a weird thing with the copyright. It's kind of like lumped in with censorship a little bit of like, I feel like I get it. Like you're trying to protect intellectual property, but it can kind of choke creativity in a sense, right? Okay, so let's go back to the story. Something happens where Billy Baston's best friend Scott gets killed. And this is a big thing in superhero stories that I find that they do well, right? People look at, the superhero stories or like these comic books as like fantastical and huge and like, oh, it's just for kids and stuff. But these stories help us grow up. They help us deal with things like losing a best friend or losing a mom or having to go through growing up. Yeah, Spider Carnage. Hey, Spidey, how's it going? Or should I say Doctor Doom in this universe? Hopefully you skew on the not so evil side in this realm. All right, so Captain Marvel, Billy Batson. The way they did it in this universe is that he's like a street kid in New York, I think, or not a street kid. He's like an orphan in New York. And I don't know, something happens. Scott gets killed, and so uh, it's because Billy Batson has already transformed into Shazam or Captain Marvel, and there's assassins coming to kill this Billy Batson kid, which they've received intel is actually the true Captain Marvel, okay? So they come in trying to kill a small boy, so they're not looking for, like, Captain Marvel, right? So they kill Scott. So Billy Batson as Captain Marvel takes Scott into his arms, runs him to the hospital, and it's like, please, please, please. Was it Chicago? Oh, yes, Snips, yes. Please, 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 yes. I get, a big difference I find between also Marvel and DC is that Marvel grounds itself in like real places. Like Spider-Man's in New York, right? As opposed to Metropolis or Gotham City, or Central City in DC, you actually have places. And you are correct, Snips. I think you're right. He's from Chicago, which I relate to because the Windy City of Chicago, right? It's out in the middle of like the Midwest, which like I'm from Winnipeg, which if you were to drive straight down in terms of like the way the climate is and all that kind of stuff has more in common that way than the other way. But thank you for that, Snips. So he's still, though, it's a big city kind of thing, right? So big city life, little boy who's actually the champion of a wizard, being given this mantle, right? So his best friend Scott, another little boy, takes him to the hospital and he dies as a result of, this is the superhero life. It's just people who walk. That's shout out to Winnipeg, baby, because out there in the middle of the prairies, right? Like you're out with like the expanse of that sky, right? It's just this beautiful place to kind of like get inspiration from. So, oh baby, oh you're so. I just got the full tingles from that. Oh my gosh. Oh, I always wanted to be a mermaid. It is getting cold again. Totally. Theo, thank you. Can we all agree Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is a comic book accurate Scarlet Witch? Ooh, great. That's a great comment. I love Doctor Strange, by the way. Oh, what a great character. I had a comic book where Jean Grey goes to Doctor Strange to do a seance because she's being haunted by what she thinks is the Phoenix, but it's actually her dead self from the future. Jean Grey. It's kind of funny. Me Too said she won't be back till 2027. Ah, damn. I love the Scarlet Witch. I personally don't cosplay the Scarlet Witch. I have a very good friend who does a great Scarlet Witch cosplay, and we should bring her back to do some magic shot. Because think about it. If we all were to role play as certain characters and put ourselves into a scenario as if we're acting, like perhaps like real magic will happen. Who knows, right? Oh yeah. But like, oh, Scarlet Witch is I think we did a show. I'll bring it back, you guys. I'll find a way to resurface some of my old content. I need to like re-edit and repackage. But I had a conversation between Scarlet Witch and Dark Phoenix, right? Because especially with women, I've talked to you guys about this. It's like, we, the power of love sometimes can be jealousy, or like if people don't love you back in the same way you love them, right? Fawcett City, it's based off Philadelphia. Okay, Snips, thank you for looking. I love you guys for that, We're so comic book accurate. Because it sounds silly, but I do truly believe in the comic books. There are a lot of ciphers and clues, like breadcrumbs for yourself, hidden in plain sight until you're ready to see them, right? I recommend going back and reading some books that you have read 5 million times with like fresh eyes. It's a trippy experience. My daughter is actually Guinevere. I love the name Guinevere. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't tell you how much I love King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. I would love to do some retelling of the Arthurian legends. I love it. I could like the whole thing with like Guinevere and Lancelot, and like I was like, Arthur, why did you go on the Holy Grail quest? That wasn't your quest. That was not meant for you. That's Galahad's quest. So it's just also, it's a telling for all of us where knowing what soul missions are yours and which ones you are meant to play, let's say, a supporting role in, and ones that are really not yours to do in this lifetime, right? We only have so much time to do things. So let's bring it back. Thank you, you guys, for joining. And hello, everybody, too, at Handsomnations. How's it going? Please do answer in the chat. I think the main question I have for you guys is like, do you like spoilers? Do you not like spoilers? I was saying I like spoilers just because I like it because no matter if someone spoils something for you, the way in which they tell that story is going to be unique to that perspective. So I'm always like curious as to how people tell stories, like, and what their takeaways are, who their favorite characters are, if they sympathize with the bad guy, if they like things like main characters kind of annoying, that kind of thing. My take, Lancelot was the man she was supposed to be with. It's true, your hero, but you're talking now about tragic love stories and stuff, right? Because if you think about Galahad, who's the perfect knight who was always meant to find the Holy Grail, he's the son of Lancelot and Elaine de Lac. I think she's tragic too, Elaine. And fun fact, Jean Grey's middle name is Elaine. Kind of weird thing. And she gets cheated on with Madeline Pryor to have Nathan Summers, right? And so it's like this weird thing where it's adultery. And that's why they burn Guinevere at the stake, right? Lancelot comes in and like rescues her. So it's this strange thing when like love is against what the rules are, and then also following your heart, and then realizing sometimes we're operating from a place because we don't have all the information. The multiverse of madness, because I love Wanda, so it never hit me she's a villain till later. That's the thing though, those are the best villains, right? You realize depending on what story you're reading, you are someone's villain. I had to be okay with that. It was but that being said, once you realize that, there's always room for redemption if you choose to take it, right? Okay, so Samurai Ninja, hey, we are in the multiverse of madness. So welcome to my version of Captain Marvel. So I never told you guys the end of my story. I just gave you the setup, but it's a good one because I love Superman and I love Captain Marvel. I know we're talking DC, but we're going to then jump into the Marvel universe, right? So Shazam, who was the original Captain Marvel, who's a little boy, finds out that his best friend has been killed because his best friend has basically been killed instead of him in an assassination attempt. Apologies, sorry. Now where was I going with this? So we do crazy things when we are racked with grief, right? We do crazy things when we're in this position of like such pain. This is how many of us can turn into villains. where we can end up hurting ourselves and others because you're in this space of just intense emotion, intense feeling. It hurts so much. You need to do something about it. Oh no, not exactly off topic, your hero. It's funny how these things, like, they seem like they're branches off, but they really do lead up to the main story topic, right? It's like when you read a saga and you have like the side characters go off on a side quest and you don't realize that it's part, like, how much it matters to the main storyline until like you get to act 3, right? So good. So I love that you brought up Wanda. We'll bring her up in just a second when we talk about this read. So in the DC universe, it's interesting because I heard a comment once that a big difference between Marvel and DC, like between the Avengers and the DC universe, is that Marvel had Stan Lee. You had like an overarching vision. So when you had the Avengers come together, it's more like a team, as opposed to the DC comics, where like each of those characters had really, really distinct creators, and they had storylines that existed all like self-encapsulated for a very long time before they came together, right, in the form of the Justice League and all those other kinds of iterations. Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Hi, Ross. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. That's right. I know there's other Captain Marvels out there, but we're going to talk about my original story in just a sec. But I'm talking about the other Captain Marvel, who is now Shazam in the DC world. So because this Captain Marvel, he lost his best friend who's a little boy, he starts to go on a rampage against the killers that killed him. So he goes, I think, into the prison, like, wreaks a bunch of havoc because, revenge. You're upset. You're like, you kill my best friend, I kill you, right? Like that kind of situation. And remember, he's a little boy inside, right? So as he's doing all this, like, it catches the attention of Superman, and he finds Shazam at this point, like, alone on a cliff somewhere after he's done all this havoc. And Superman's been called to like bring him in. So he goes to him, and he's like, you did all this like damage and stuff. I know that it was the prison and you're hurt. And so Captain Marvel starts to tell him, he's like, my best friend is dead. And Superman's like, well, that's kind of creepy because your best friend's like a 10-year-old boy and you're like a grown man. And Captain Marvel's like, oh, he looks at me, he's like, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you a secret. So he says his secret transformation word, Shazam, in front of Superman, and Captain Marvel transforms now into the 10-year-old boy of Billy Batson in front of Superman. Thanks, Theo. Superman looks at this, and his initial reaction is, who did this to you? Right? He's so upset at the fact. And then so Billy looks at him and he says, it's the wizard Shazam. This is my mantle. This is this 10-year-old boy. And I'm sure many of you, I have felt this way at 10 years old too, like this huge responsibility on your shoulders, but you're just a boy. So Superman looks at this and he's like incredulous that Captain Marvel is actually this little boy. And he knows this wizard, right? Because the wizard at the Rock of Eternity deals with a lot of like the cosmic stuff, like in Multiversity and in the Green Lantern Corps and all that kind of stuff. So Superman goes to Shazam and like gives him shit and is like, hey, wizard guy, what the hell are you doing? Who are you? Like, you talk about time and magic and time streams and all this power, but you let this small boy take on all of this responsibility. He should be, having crushes and playing in the schoolyard, all of this stuff. Like, why, like, at 10 years old, he shouldn't have to be dealing with like his best friend dying and like having to deal with these huge responsibilities of keeping the multiverse safe, right? But the wizard looks at him and he says, this is his destiny. This is just what he's called to do, right? No different than you, Superman, right? And he does soften a bit because Superman has had a childhood, right? That's how he became Superman. He had great parents. He got to grow up. And so to see this contrast of this little boy who's 10 years old, growing up basically homeless in like a big city and like losing his best friend, but yet still also being Captain Marvel inside, it was just, he feels for him, the empathy in him, right? Superman is a Pisces too, by the way. So the wizard then softens a bit and he says, he is a boy though still, right? And he could use some guidance. He could use some mentorship. And so Superman, and I love this scene, as Clark Kent, he goes to the city that Billy Baston lives in, and he finds him in this like shitty rundown like apartment building, like on like a mattress. And he walks in as Clark Kent and he's like, "Hi, are you Billy?" And Billy's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I'm Clark Kent. But I wanted to just thank you." And he like opens up his shirt and he's got like the S underneath. And Billy looks at him and he's just like, "Oh." So I don't like, this is where the story ends. And there's some indications that it's not like Clark Kent can adopt Billy Batson. He's like a reporter's salary in New York City or like Metropolis, right? You can't afford that kind of thing. But this idea of mentorship, right, is very important in terms of, characters that are older, more classic, giving weight and guidance to the characters that come up. So, Hunter Nebula, what did I think of the last Superman movie? I thought it was okay. Okay. I thought it was good. Like, it's difficult, right? Like, and Red Heron, hello, hello. I always go, like, I'm a very, like, I guess, silver lining kind of person. I always go in with hope that I'm going to like it. I don't ever want to dislike anything, right? It's just the nerdy part in me can't handle things like inconsistencies or when, like, different characters don't act in the way they're supposed to. However, that movie was really good because Guy Gardner was like perfect. Nathan Fillion, wonderful Guy Gardner. I love how they infused the more cosmic elements of the universe in DC without compromising Superman as a character. My only one critique is that Krypto is Superman's dog. He is not Supergirl's dog. Krypto is only Supergirl's dog in this universe. As Wolfie and me. I just thought it was okay. Did you like Man of Steel better, Hunter Nebula? I actually thought that Henry Cavill's a better Superman. I think he just needed a better story and script. That's basically it. And it's hard for people to get that character. I feel like if you don't have all of like this extra background to why you love him so much too, right? Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Like I'm always happy about having that story out there, and if it gets more people to be inspired, then oh, so be it. Because I think that's what we need more of these days, right? Like it's okay to know that like there's tough times in the world, there's stuff that we need to deal with, but it's also okay to be inspired. To know that there's those out there who will do the right thing no matter what, right? So I welcome you guys, and in yourselves to have the strength to take the path that's less taken, to take the path that's hard, right? I need to uncensor that comment, Ross, because you're my, we should have like a tally of like junk kicking, and we can have like a, what do you want to call it, top 10. I was going to have that soon, more of like my top 5 stories that deal with multiverse stuff. My top 5 stories when it comes to time travel. My top 5 stories when it comes to cloning. Marvel does love clones, though, I've noticed that. So we're going to now shift into the comic book read, you guys. We do need a tally. We need like a scoreboard for some fun stuff, too. Don't worry, I have some upgrades coming to the show very, very soon. So let's bring it back to this particular cosplay, you guys, of Captain Marvel. So thank you guys for joining. Happy Friday. This body sock is actually my original body sock that I purchased back in the day. And I wore this body sock to work at... I remember, and like one of the girls at work, she's like, "Is that just a sock?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I wish I had a body to pull that off." I'm like, "Oh," but I will admit, at the time, I didn't watch any of the Captain Marvel movies. I only knew Brie Larson too, as well as like how unlikable she was, and I knew Captain Marvel from a Ms. Marvel perspective. So the body sock, I will say, back in the day, I was kind of posery with it. I was just like, It's cute. I like it, that kind of situation. But Captain Marvel herself, as a character, oh, Spider Carnage, I love that. She's one of your favorite characters, is the counter to Supergirl in the DC universe. And I'll explain why. It's the feminine personification of power and leadership. Now, I do find that a lot of writers and creators have a hard time doing women in positions of power without making it like too butch or Mary Sue or having it earned. I think some of my top three favorite badass chicks in movies are Linda Hamilton, so Sarah Connor in Terminator 2, Ripley from Alien. Because these are like tough chicks where it feels really earned. And I'm trying to think of my third one. It'll come to me. She'd need a Spidey villain named Judas Traveler. Who is that character, too? I mean, like, there's so many. Oh, that's the thing. I love that. The random thing. I love Captain Marvel. Yeah, me too. The Bride and Kill Bill. Yes. Oh, it's so funny you mentioned that Samurai Ninja. I'm going to show you guys. I have the sword. I mean, like, Captain Marvel technically doesn't need a sword, but this is the Kill Bill replica sword. It's funny. I've noticed that a lot of cosplayers these days they don't use the sword anymore. They use like a bat because I think there's like a home invasion somewhere, and like the guy who was being invaded like used a Kill Bill replica sword to like basically like kill the guy who was coming in. So crazy, right? But I think because of that, I was just like, oh shoot, this could actually be a weapon. Fun story though too. I brought this sword. I did a photo shoot out in Hamilton from Toronto, and I took the GO train. So I brought this sword on the GO train, and then coming off, the securities guy's like, "You can't have swords on the GO train." I'm like, it's not a sword." So funny. I think he's a time travel, and she need him to stop him to time travel. You know what, Ross? It's so funny. He's a time traveler, and like the best course of action in that universe was to like knee him in the nuts. It's a simple way to solve problems. So we're gonna read some Captain Marvel. I like this story just because I was like full ready to kind of judge the chick in this story, the girl in it. But I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad that I read it because it's like a fun little dynamic of showing also like mind melding, telepathy, that kind of stuff. What move would I use to stop a guy to invade? You know what? I wouldn't kick a guy in the junk. You know how like Jean-Claude Van Damme does that like split and then punch in the junk? I would do that. Because it's showy and, and effective. Because sometimes, with like the fancy kicks, I'm always just like, in that time you're doing that fancy little kick, they probably would have grabbed your leg and like, punch him in the nuts and then maybe like a knee in the face kind of situation. But make it look good. Always, right? Okay, guys, so let's read some Captain Marvel. I would say in the future, a few girls, like my friend Laura, she's very, like, I think she's like a natural Captain Marvel. But let's get into it. Alyssa Wong is the writer. I can see why. I can see the biases when people write. Okay. Is it a lack of imagination? Oh, that's my guess. And then slow down. There we go. Good. No casualties. All in all, I've had worse Thursdays. Well, it's a Friday. I'm pretty close. Pretty close here. Excuse me, Captain Marvel. And then the bad guy enters the scene. Hi, I've always wanted to meet you. I like the new outfit. It's cute. Captain Marvel responds with the compliment. It's like, oh, I'm charmed. I am, actually. All right, so she's durable. Takes one to know one. Kaboom, whum. She stopped my energy blast cold. No, absorbed it. That could be a problem. This is why I've been looking for you, Captain Marvel. You're incandescent. and I'll take any energy you give me and have some kinetic energy. So she punches her in the face. That's kinetic energy, right? Um, Oof. Luckily, I'm a problem solver. What? Ugh! Get off me. She's draining my energy. I can't help it. Drawing on my power to fight back is instinct at this point. But the more that I fight, the more that she siphons away. I am the omen. Oh, what a name. I'm the omen. That sounds very evil. I am the omen. I am the first of things to come. And this looks like a portal. And you are perfect. Thank you. Meanwhile, we have this chickie here who she's breaking in, right? Using tools. Looks like thieves' tools in D&D. Ignore it. You have an incoming call from Mom. Oh, geez. Pick up? Hey, Oma, can I call you back? Brooklyn. So we're in Brooklyn, New York right now. I'm kind of in the middle of something. And so we've got Yuna Yang, who's climbing the walls, breaking in. No, of course I always have time to talk to you, Uma. That buzzing sound? I'm just brushing my teeth. Sorry, I think I'm roofing you. Bye. Call ended. And we're in. I love it when nobody's home. A waste of good facial recognition. What is a camo, though? Now, where would I be if I were a powerful, priceless pair of magical Cree relics? So I think this is where we talk about the magic bracelets, right? The Cree bracelets. Do I have them here? Kind of, maybe not. So the golden bracelets. This is where I feel like Captain Marvel is that combo of like Wonder Woman and Supergirl, perhaps. So I'm going to jump a little bit of ahead. So now we know that like Yang has, what was her name again? I forget. Yoon Yang, I feel. Like they call her by name later on, so we'll go with it. That's very specific. So it is very specific. So she knew exactly what she was looking for. So Captain Marvel, we're going to jump back into the explosions, right? Because that's the fun stuff. And so she looks down and she calls them nega bands, okay? Where the hell am I? So we are in the negative zone. Now, the negative zone has a lot in common with the phantom zone in the DC universe. So I feel like it's like a timeless negative space, exactly the way it sounds. And then, no, the negabands are gone. This was not in the brief. What brief? And now there's a voice in my head. Perfect. That makes two of us. Let me guess. You were wearing the negabands, and then you clicked them together, kind of like Dorothy's shoes. You know, you click them together, and then now all of a sudden you're linked. And then Captain Marvel continues while she's fighting. It forged a mental connection between us, and we switched places. I did read about this. Whoa, I really shouldn't have skimmed the brief. Again, what brief? Who are you and what agency do you work for? None. I'm not really a government-sanctioned operation kind of gal. So you're either a civilian or a criminal. Excuse you. That's a hell of an accusation for someone who's never met me. I'm Yuna, by the way. And you are? Hi, Zalia. Welcome. We're just reading some Captain Marvel. As Captain Marvel, all about personifications of power, baby, right? In a responsible way. And in this comic book, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, is also the leader of the Avengers, right? Because each configuration, iteration of the superhero teams, like, you know, leader is not like a permanent role necessarily. I feel like it depends on like whatever mission you're on and like the briefing, your mission briefing, right? Okay. So she responds, I'm Captain Marvel. Bleep. So judging by that reaction, you're definitely a criminal. Huh, I thought I put you away. This time I'll make it stick. Where's Genus Vel? I don't know who that is. He's right there. No. Eyes on me, Captain Marvel. She's pulling the energy from my body again, and she's taken so much of it. But where? Where is it going? Captain, something's happening. My hands, they're tingly and see-through. Oh no, we're about to switch places again. And if we switch back now, no, I can't put Yuna in danger. The omen wants to drain my energy. So, I'm going to let her. Kaboom! Maybe I'm gambling wrong. Maybe she can keep this up forever. But all of the energy she's absorbing, it has to go somewhere. She's storing it in her body like a battery, in which case I can overload her. Isn't that Marvel's son? Oh, Snips, you might be right. That might make sense because remember, the background is that she's half Cree, right? And Cree, it's spelled Kree, not to be confused with the native tribe Cree Nation. But I do think there's a double entendre there with that, right? When we think about ancient technology, alien technology, future tech, that kind of stuff, right? And yes, the old growing shot. Simple, but effective. All right, so there's only so much one body can handle. So she lets him overtake, like pull all the energy from her so it combusts them, right? Too much. Hey, Alvin, it's been a while. How are you? Happy Friday. Welcome to the weekend. It's Captain Marvel here to like remind you guys, all you Avengers out there, it's time to assemble. Just saying. It's time. I'm great. Yeah, I'm reading a Captain Marvel comic book. We're going to read. Did Cap do the grind? I don't know. Did she? I think she was just, does that count? That's more of a face shot, you guys. And then later, maybe there's one later. I don't, maybe the other Chica might do it. Because I feel like, no, there's no groin shot here. I will make one as Captain Marvel. We'll put this into my retelling of this story when I fight this character. It's fun too. Like I was telling my hubby too. You know, when you're making a movie, like and you're doing like fight choreography, I'm just like, oh yeah, I need people to be the bad guys. You know, like I'm like, oh yeah, because like, what the heck is the point if you're throwing a punch, it hits nothing, right? So kind of an interesting thing. Like you need villains to tell a story. Right? What is a hero without a villain, right? And I think Unbreakable with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson kind of do that well in a sense of like asking that question that, you know, when you create a superhero, you create an equal and opposing force against it, right? So you do need bad guys, right? And also it's like tempering a weapon, right? You, like a sword in the fire, you only become more of yourself and more honed and yeah, the more trials you go through, even though it can feel like crap at the time. Okay, so it could be a groin shot that you guys, you don't really see her. She's just like pure energy as she's doing it. Energy groin shot. There's only so much one body can handle. Oh, already? I'm out of time. It's been fun, but I have places to be. See you later, Captain Marvel. Wait, Genus. Don't worry. He's in good hands. She's gone. Just in time. We need to talk. Oh yeah, you bet we do. So they go out and remember they're talking to each other in their minds, right? This is like a mental or like magic or tech magic bracelet connection, right? So think about that, you guys, when it comes to your own friends and family. You know, I know that we have phones and stuff, but maybe try practicing telepathy. And if you want to join superhero school, we start on Sunday, you guys. So every Sunday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, We're going to be doing superhero school from now until winter solstice, where we have a graduation ceremony. And each module, we're going to be focusing on things like your origin story, symbols and sigils, your alter egos, the villain within, practices, and little exercises you can do to hone things like telepathy, clairvoyance, time dilation, that kind of fun stuff. So I've tried to keep it away from anything copyright because I do believe that Marvel actually owns the copyright to the word superhero. It's why DC uses the term metahuman, right? So it's this interesting thing. I'm like, but I'm just trying to say, like, it's like hero school. And you don't necessarily need superpowers to be a superhero, right? You just have to be someone who is extraordinary. So I might play with the name of it exactly just to avoid the copyright stuff. But I will be doing different characters cosplaying as like your teachers, right? So different headmistresses, different professors that will teach you different things about like power, telepathy, and think about it like Wanda, of course, is going to have different things to teach you than like Supergirl or someone who's more like physical power, right? Or things like Sue Storm versus Poison Ivy, which is like a lot of nature stuff. So it's, all of that kind of stuff is like I'm trying to take it away from like the copyright stuff and more about like the essences of these characters. And because a lot of them pull from things like Greek myth and old lore or stories that are just in our consciousness that we have all forgotten about, right? From an ancient future time. Hopefully that vibes with you. So if you want to join that, the first hour will always be free. You can get each additional module, which will come with a textbook and exercises you can keep forever for just $8 per class, or you can get a semester class pack with the full textbook for $50. So there you go. And you get a fun, snazzy graduation certificate at the end. And hopefully by the time winter solstice rolls around, we'll have some people phasing through walls, flying, and some laser vision, right? So hey, I'm here to bring the superheroes to this earth. I've been told by the universe that is the case. So I'm here to help wake you guys up. And we can do it in a very practical way. We can take it out of this dream, wish fulfillment place and do things. It may not look exactly the way that we think, but it'll be in the way that we need it. Trust me. Okay, so we got Captain Marvel talking to her friend Yuna here. So, how much of this can you see? Our minds are linked, and it seems like no one else can hear us talking to each other, but I can feel everything that you're feeling. Ooh, that's a good something to kind of keep in mind, right? So it's the bracelets that are doing this. That's how they're explaining it. Of the guy getting hurt by his... Oh, yeah. It's true, though, right? Like, when you hurt your dog, you just get all over it, and then, like, the evil laughter, right? I've been trying to think of, like, my dog, Wolfie, who, he'll be on the show soon. He's been a little camera shy. What his voice would sound like, doing his voice. Like, I used to love those old movies, like, Look Who's Talking Now, where it's, like, the baby talking, or the dog's talking, and, like, no one else can hear it but them, that kind of thing. I feel like when we were kids too, like we also like Rugrats. We all had like our own like way of talking and our own conversation. And I think if we can just tap back into that frequency, there's something to be said there about it. All right, so Captain Marvel says back to her, well, she's in the negative zone right now. Not exactly. I can get a vague sense of things if I focus on our bond, but I can't experience what is happening to you. Yeah, same on my end. So they think for a second. That's going to make this a lot harder than I hoped it would be. She's like, I can't take these bands off. They don't have hinges to pop off or locks to pick. I even tried whacking them with this weird magical pipe wrench, and still nothing. Great weapon, girl. Where did you get that from? Asks Captain Marvel. I found it in the negative zone. I was holding it when we swapped places. Look, I don't know much about magical items. I just steal them. I mean, I borrow them. Sure you do. There's a market for them, and college isn't going to pay for itself. I hear you, girl. You can't arrest me from the negative zone. Can you? Well, I'll come back to that later. I want these bands off of us as much as you do, Yuna. They're keeping me trapped in the negative zone right now. When we swapped places, it felt like stretching a rubber band. The more energy I used, the further it stretched until it swapped back, or snapped back rather, and it sent me here again. So inside, feeling like a rubber band being stretched and then snapped as you trade places, or I guess like jump portals if you think about it. So earlier, the omen grabbed the bands while I had them on. Maybe her powers corrupted them. If you keep wearing them, I worry about what might happen to you. Oh, you're worried about what might happen to me? You don't even know me, Captain Marvel. Oh, you can call me Carol. I'll stick with Captain Marvel. It's a little uncomfortable for me calling the leader of the Avengers by her first name. Oh, don't worry. You'll get used to it. And then later, lose a Marvel, gain a Marvel. You're not the one I wanted, but for now, you'll do. Lend me your strength, and I will give you the greatest gift ever given to me, the chance to be so much more than yourself. Open your mind to her and wake. Yes, my lady, it looks like a zombie kind of situation. Rise, Genus Vel. We have work to do. Dun, dun, dun. Resurrection bad guy. The negative zone. Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. The city is completely empty. No people, no bodies, just the collective ruins of different worlds. That's creepy. Oh, there you are, Yuna. Your half of our mental connection was so quiet. I thought that I was talking to myself. Maybe this is normal for you, Captain Marvel, but I'm not used to someone poking around in my head. Cut me some slack, Yuna Yang. It's not normal for me either. But if we're going to work together to remove these corrupted negabands, we have to master our connection. Your voice feels like an incoming sneeze stuck in the back of my mind. It's so hard to concentrate. Oh, thanks for that donut, Theo. Well, I want you to try. Has anyone told you that you're bossy as hell? All the time. Yes, little bossy little girls, I'm just telling you. I want to do it this way, but it's about, being a boss without being bossy. I don't know, sometimes having a bossy tone is necessary. So it says all the time, focus and tell me what I'm touching. Smooth surface. Bars or slats, a bend, then another flat plane placed on top. A chair. And then remember, she's still in the real world and like going to school, right? While having this like mental thing going on. Yuna, wake up. Lenore, I wasn't sleeping. I used to sleep in class all the time. My nickname in school, high school, was Sleepy 90s because I get 90s in class and sleep in class. So, sleeping on my textbooks, a good way to absorb them. You were, I swear, if I have to do this group project all by myself because you weren't paying attention in class, I would never do that to you. Okay, so last time that happened, I was picking up extra hours at my part-time job. And before that, the same thing. But, Yuna, can you hear me? Not now, Captain. I'm busy. This is the problem. You never take anything seriously. With what? Sorry, do you have something more important to do? This project is worth 35% of our final grade. Freeing us from the negabands is a matter of life and death. So it's kind of like this whole situation where like, thanks, Samurai Ninja. My friend I had two girlfriends, Santina and Eliana Dell'Acqua. They were both like Italian and super loud. And Eliana used to come up to me and be like, "Sleeps, how's it going?" Like it was just a funny thing. And like no one else, like nicknames like that are such a funny thing, right? Like you can't come up with your own nicknames, right? Other people give them to you, and the story behind them it ends up being like a fun inside joke that sticks. And I find that like superhero names are kind of like that too sometimes. Think about it. Okay, which means it's basically a matter of life and death. So in her head, she has two conversations happening, the one happening right in front of her in class and the one happening in her head with Captain Marvel. So you need to get it together before this ruins both of our lives. Flashback. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry, Leo. Don't call me that. Let me make it up to you. Coffee at that cute cafe in K-Town. You and me. My treat. Like a study date? I guess, if you want. But I was thinking more like a date. Kaboom! What was that? It came from outside. Everyone, stay calm. A campus alert? What could? Oh, yeah, bad guys hidden your campus, baby. Oh no, they're here. My hands remember them. Genus Vel, former Captain Marvel. So you can see here the corruption, right? So this ends up, I think superhero comics do this well rather. This idea of how power can potentially corrupt, right? Or what would my nickname here be? Good question, Ross. Good question. I'll think about it. I used to be called at work the Rage, like Rachel Rage, because I was usually very kind and nice and sweet until I got really angry. It takes a lot to get me angry, but like I'm a Taurus, one of those things with the bull where like slow to anger, but once I do, I had to work on it, because sometimes it can just be a bit much and I have to like pull myself back before it gets too far, which is why I relate to Dark Phoenix. And it's just a matter of like you have to learn these things about within yourself because there are consequences to people that you love if you don't learn to get your shit together. You can give me an nickname. Ross, I feel like there's something in the works, I think, in terms of Genus Val. I hope I'm saying that right. So for Captain Marvels, Billy Baston, Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Carol Danvers. Oh, Billy Batten. How crazy is it? There's a Billy Batten Captain Marvel and Billy Batson is Shazam in the other universe. So fun. I'm still in Africa. Hey, Superman. Oh, where in Africa are you? I'm half South African. So if you're around that area, say hello to the homeland. Let's see here. What comic is this? Oh, Sky, it is Captain Marvel. It's a newer comic book. I tend to read you guys older stuff just because I'm old too. So I read you guys comic books that like meant a lot to me when I was a teenager growing up. But Captain Marvel has gone through a lot of evolutions and changes lately, right? And I first learned about Captain Marvel as Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers in her cute outfit, and the original, right, Captain Marvel, who is now like we have this corrupted version, right, who's being used by the bad guy in this comic book called The Omen. So let's continue on. He's causing havoc on the campus at this point. There's a campus alert. I think there'd be more than a campus alert. I can still do the kicks. I just need to stretch, Ross. That's why I can't just do them I need to know ahead of time if I'm gonna, any kind of dance stuff, I need to stretch my neck before you do head whips, stretch your shoulders before you throw punches. Because if you just go cold and do those things, you'll do it. But you'll the next day, you'll be like, wow, ouch. Your body's like, I wasn't expecting to do that. Okay. They're here. My hands remember them. Genus Val, former Captain Marvel. My nega band. So I guess those are his nega bands. Morocco, Rabat, Casablanca. Very nice Superman. Beautiful. Morocco's gorgeous. Okay. Lifting the knee up, if you do you know what a knee is a lot more like concentrated. Like an elbow has a lot more concentrated effort than like a punch, but you don't have the range, right? As much. They have to be closer to you. And you also need, it's harder to aim. Like I'm short too, you guys. So like if I were to do, it's better for me to do a high kick than I guess a knee. Unless I jumped, like a jump knee. I'll think. Working on choreography later. I had a Marvel cosplay. Oh, did you? That's cool. You should bring them back. We should bring them back. We should do like a Marvel family get together. Because the Kree and that whole alien technology, just like the whole Kryptonian technology, I think in comic books striving to explain things like that, we can actually have our own technological advances, right? How short? Guess. Guess. I'm 5'2". Yeah. When people meet me in person, they're always shocked at how small I am in person. I guess I have a really big personality. Also, too, a lot of my best friends are like 5'9" and above. So it's so funny being 5'2" and hanging out with girls that are really tall. I thought I was also tall, and then I'll look at like photos. I'm like, oh, I'm not. This cap's little. This cap's little. That's why I have heels, guys. Or like float energetically, right? Hey, voice of one. Thanks, Ross. It's only in cosplay though, right? Rachel Z tries to keep her privacy, right? And so it's through cosplay that I've actually been able to like express myself fully without feeling judged, right? Because like as I told you guys, I've let you guys into like my experience growing up, and I went to like an all girls Catholic school. I was like a straight A student, super sheltered, so it didn't give you much room to make mistakes, right? Because back then we didn't even have social media, and it was still, I still felt like, if you were going through a breakup, it was something very public, right? Like I was dating someone who like his dad was basically like Winnipeg royalty. I'm not gonna go into it. But that breakup was really hard on me. And even though it was amicable, like it was like the end of that relationship, it was still hard because friends choose sides, right? And like it's just the situation where like these groups now are like, well, now I can't be with you because you're the ex. I'm like, oh gosh. Like, so that whole situation, the different roles we play and like how things go, like from one point, or even like Avengers here, it's a good way to kind of relate it, like bands breaking up, or you have different lead singers or different iterations, different ways the team works. And then people who are fans or people who love things have their favorites, right? And so I think there's space there for all of us to kind of bring that together versus being like upset about it. Okay, so we've got Genus Val, the former Captain Marvel, coming in and attacking the campus because he's trying to find his like negabands, which Yuna stole from this like place. She steals magic items, and now she's connected telepathically to Captain Marvel right now, Carol Danvers. Okay, Genus Val, I thought he was dead, but apparently not because he's attacking my university. Yuna, let me out, because she's in the negative zone right now. I can protect the citizens, but I can't do anything from here. Okay. Let me find a place to hide so I can use the negabands to just swap our places. Lenore, we have got to get out of here. Boom. Ah, Lenore, there's no time. I need you to use the negabands now. Look out. So she grabs her. Yuna, you're injured. Yeah, I noticed. Ha. We need to get you medical attention. Are you okay? I am. You saved my life, Yuna. So, will you get coffee with me? Yuna, go, get out of here. I will be fine. So she pulls out the bracelets, right? Slams them together, right? You're up, Captain. So switching places, Captain Marvel is out. I got you. I can sense the bands. They're closer than ever and getting closer. And yeah, close enough to basically attack you. Yes. Carol? Right here. Snap out of it, Genus Val. Ugh. You really don't pull your punches, huh? Nah, not my style. I need to get him away from the college and civilians as fast as possible. I've only got a couple of minutes before the negabands swap us back, and using my powers shortens that window. Luckily, a nice punch or a drop kick takes a lot less out of me than a full energy blast. Or kicking in the junk, right? Less energy needed. So there's a strategic component to doing it that way, right? Then I have to just let gravity do the rest. Can you breathe underwater? It wouldn't be my first time. Now it's a matter of who can outlast the "You brought me my negabands, Carol. You're so thoughtful." The hole in his chest is opening up. You really shouldn't have. The omen. So there's like a portal in like his chest where like his heart should be, I suppose, and it sucks her in. And then we've got, kaboom. What did you do? My wrist started burning, but then the pain suddenly disappeared. Genus Val's been corrupted by the omen's magic. He tried to take back the negabands, and when he touched them, I felt her. That's why he attacked the college. He's hunting for the bands. The omen is crawling out of Genus Val's chest. She's using him as a portal. Okay, that's disgusting. I can't fight them both underwater. If I burn through too much energy, we'll switch back, and then you'll die because you'll be in the middle of the water, right? We have to retreat. But where can we go? If he can track the negabands, I can't think of a place where we can hide from. Wait, I can. There's a place I've never been able to break into. I heard the inside is full of time and space distortions. It houses so many magical items that their energy signatures or auras or whatever might drown out the negabands. I mean, it's all theory. But I bet if anyone could get inside, you could. You want me to break into a magical artifact stronghold? I want you to help me survive, and maybe that means breaking into a magical artifact stronghold. Sure. I'll give you directions. Focus on our bond, and let me see what you're seeing. Pop! Oh my gosh, whoa! It actually worked. Told you we could figure it out. Now that our minds are finally synced, you promised me directions. It's not far from here. Let's go. So they're going to go find some magic artifact to hopefully help with the negaband situation. Boom. Where are you running, Carol? Please stay and play. I'm good, thanks. Oh, I love a good hands-on approach. This way. It's right down there. Oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. That's the Sanctum Sanctorium. Speaking of Doctor Strange and multiverses of madness, look at where we are. Yeah, I know. Get inside right now. I'm running out of time. The bands are trying to pull me back. Oh, come on. I just need a little more time. Bleep, bleep. Where did I put it? Aha. Aha. Whack. Heads up. And they crash through basically Doctor Strange's house. Oof. Look at this place. That's a quad-dimensional lotus. And that's the Book of Endless Sorrows. Wow, they're in like the magical museum inside, right? There are artifacts here so rare, I need to keep them, they need to be locked behind 4 magical barriers too. Yuna, is the window repairing itself? Someone's coming. Hide. It's too late. Whatever that is, it's already found us. The Sanctum Sanctorium. Yuna, don't do anything rash. Okay, well, define rash, Captain Marvel. There's a monster coming up the stairs. Yana Yang. What kind of monster? Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. I remember she's in the negative zone, right? What kind of? Are you serious? The kind that can eat me? Probably. Okay, settle down. There's no need to be dramatic. Dramatic? Geez, even your thoughts are loud. I'm going to focus on our mental connection so I can see what you're seeing. It's probably just Steven or Clea. Does that thing look like Doctor Strange to you? And it's like this big demon monster. It's probably the security feature in the sanctum, I'm going to guess. I've been known to be wrong. Yeah, occasionally. I'm way too squishy and non-superpowered to deal with this problem. You are up. That should have... So she clangs the bracelets together, but then nothing happens. The nega bands should have swapped our places. Why didn't it work? And then probably because they're in a magical place and there's probably magical wards and other things going along, so other things are not working as expected. So the beast is like barraging around, and then I heard the glass and barrier shatter. Where are you? Oh no, I know what happened. You just burned through a lot of power before the negabands yanked you into the negative zone. You've got nothing left. I have always got something left. What? Where are you going? Don't leave me here. I'm gonna be right back. Using energy in our dimension drains me and pulls me back into the negative zone. But if I'm already here, that's not a problem. Now I need to find something to give me a boost. Hurry! I don't like my chances of fighting a dragon even with a magic pipe wrench. Don't fight it. Stay hidden. A fortress? The outside looks as dead as everything else here, but there's a malevolent force radiating from inside the building. It feels toxic, like the absence of energy somehow. The omen's magic, but somehow worse. It sounds like the opposite of what you want. So let me think. It's like a puzzle. I've definitely seen something like this in the negative zone that might... Wow, help! Found you! So she whacks it with the wrench. What the heck? I'm out of time, Captain! Run, Yuna! If you can make it down the stairs, find Strange and Clea. They will help you. That's a pretty big if. And I don't think it's an option anymore. Captain, remember that plaza with the 3 coffee shops and a radio station scrunched together? I saw something glowing inside the tall spiraling pink crystals north of there. I am on my way. There it is. This structure isn't earth-made. I couldn't feel it until now, and it's pulsing faintly. The crystal must have been muffling its energy signature. Maybe it just needs a kickstart. Give a little, get a little back. Any moment now. Being eaten alive is number 4 on my top 5 worst ways to die, so I'd appreciate some assistance. And look who shows up. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange! Oh, thank God, I'm saved. Hey, what is this? Saved is not the word I would use, thief. I have to admire your boldness. How did you break into the Sanctum Sanctorium, Yuna Yang? Stephen Strange, a.k.a. Doctor Strange. And Clea Strange, his wifey. Oh, thanks, Rostarix. You know who I am? Oh, I keep tabs on the black market trade in magical artifacts and the names of people who might steal mine. This is all a big misunderstanding. I'm not here to steal your stuff. Really, I promise. Captain Marvel and I were on the run from the supervillain called the Omen, and we thought it would be safest to crash at your place. And where is Captain Marvel now? She's right here. Clang. Boom! She shows up. Hey, Clea. Carol. Grah. So now there's a demon in the house. Oh, Steven, you're here too. Well, it is my house. Is the plant Hydra new? It's new, isn't it? No, it's very old and was sealed inside a very old tomb until your thief friend let it out. I know what you're going to suggest. We are not destroying the book. I said nothing. But, for the record, no. So they fight this beast. I'm going to skip ahead because, actually, wait, we're not going to actually get to that part yet. I'll leave it. Black Cat shows up later. I wanted to show that because Black Cat has a connection to Yuna being a thief and all. But I will leave that here. Captain Marvel and friends easily take down the plant monster who is like trapped in a tomb. And they end off where like Cap sits down, has coffee with Clea and Steven, which is kind of nice, right? Black Cat will be back later to read the rest for you guys. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but definitely in the next few days. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this read. I wanted to do this as a live read of Captain Marvel in Captain Marvel garb as Carol Danvers for you guys. So thanks for joining. It's a little bit of an early read. I'm gonna be back on later as Cortana. I have finally fixed that cosplay. Yes, Ross is going to be on YouTube later in its full form. Yes, I've been trying to add in plates of the actual comic book as well, but so bear with me on that when it comes to editing. But sometimes it takes so much longer to do that and export the video and all that kind of stuff. But if a guy grabs your phone and holds it, you're baiting me here, Ross. You kick him in the junk altogether now. Okay, guys, thank you guys for joining so much. It's been such a slice to put back on the body sock, my OG Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, personifications of superpower. I hope you guys join me for superhero school on Sunday, but otherwise, I will catch you way before then, of course. All right, guys, so remember, it takes true courage for you to play as exactly you in this cosmic game of life. So be sure to play as exactly you because the universe is counting on you. But I have your back. Until next time, guys, peace out. Captain Marvel out.